Today's video is about Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian general who posed a significant challenge to the Romans in the Second Punic War. A figure who looms large in history, he was born in 247 BC into an age of conflict and a family steeped in military tradition. Hannibal's father was Hannibal Barca, a statesman and general who had led Carthage during the First Punic War against Rome. Hamilcar's influence on his son was profound. He kindled in young Hannibal a sense of duty, a hunger for victory, and a deep-seated enmity against Rome. Hannibal's upbringing was far from ordinary. Born in Carthage, one of the world's most powerful cities at the time, he was raised amidst soldiers and statesmen. His father's friends were his mentors, and the tales of their battles against Rome were his bedtime stories. Hannibal was not just a passive listener to these stories, though. He took an active part in his father's military campaigns from a tender age. He was there on the front lines, learning the art of war firsthand. His father's exploits were not just tales of heroism to him, they were lessons in strategy and tactics, resilience and determination. When Hannibal was still a boy, his father made him swear an oath of enmity against Rome. It was a solemn promise, one that would guide his actions and decisions throughout his life. This oath was not just a pledge of hostility, it was a declaration of lifelong struggle. It shaped Hannibal's destiny, turning him into the formidable adversary of Rome that he would become. Hannibal carried this enmity in his heart, fueling his desire to succeed where his father had been thwarted. He was determined to avenge Carthage's defeat in the First Punic War and to bring Rome to its knees. His father's legacy and his own personal oath became the driving forces behind his military campaigns. Thus, from a young age, Hannibal was destined to be a thorn in the side of Rome. In 221 BC, Hannibal assumed command of the Carthaginian forces and thus began his storied military career. Hannibal Barca, a name that still resonates in the annals of history, wasn't just a military commander. He was a strategist par excellence, a leader who inspired loyalty, and a man who dared to dream the impossible. His military campaigns, particularly his audacious crossing of the Alps and his triumphant victories in Italy, are testament to his tactical genius. After assuming command, Hannibal wasted no time in making his mark. He began his military career in Spain, securing Carthaginian territories and expanding their control. His campaign in Spain wasn't just about conquests, it was a show of strategic finesse, as he skillfully navigated the political and diplomatic landscapes, forging alliances and consolidating power. But it was his daring crossing of the Alps that truly etched his name in history. With an army comprising of foot soldiers, horsemen, and even elephants, Hannibal embarked on a journey deemed impossible. Facing harsh weather, treacherous terrains, and hostile tribes, the Carthaginian forces endured. This was a testament to Hannibal's leadership and the unwavering resolve of his troops. They emerged on the Italian side, not as weary travelers, but as a formidable force ready to challenge Rome, and challenge Rome he did. Hannibal's victories at Trebia, Lake Trasimene, and Cannae bear witness to his military prowess. At Trebia, he lured the Roman forces into a trap, using the river as a strategic advantage. At Lake Trasimene, he demonstrated the power of ambush, trapping the Roman army between the lake and his forces. But it was at Cannae where Hannibal's tactical brilliance truly shone. He orchestrated a tactical masterpiece, enveloping a larger Roman army in a deadly pincer movement. These victories shook Rome to its core, and for a time it seemed that the Roman Republic might fall. Yet despite his victories, despite his tactical genius, and despite the fear he instilled in the heart of Rome, Hannibal was unable to bring Rome to its knees. Rome, the eternal city, proved to be resilient. The Roman Republic, though shaken, did not crumble. It adapted, it learned, and it endured. Hannibal's victories, while significant, were not enough to topple the Roman Republic. Despite his victories, Hannibal was unable to bring Rome to its knees, a testament to the resilience of the Roman Republic. The tide of war began to turn against Hannibal after the Battle of Cannae. With Rome still reeling from the devastating losses at Cannae, a new strategy was needed. Step forward Fabius Maximus, the Roman general known as the Delayer. Fabius understood that direct confrontation with Hannibal was a losing game. Instead, he adopted a strategy of attrition, harrying Hannibal's forces, cutting off their supply lines and avoiding pitched battles. This was a slow-burning strategy, but it began to take its toll on Hannibal's forces. The Carthaginian general, once so feared, was now being slowly bled dry in a foreign land. And then came the decisive defeat at Zama. Enter Scipio Africanus, a Roman general who had studied Hannibal's tactics and knew how to counter them. At Zama in North Africa, Scipio's well-drilled infantry and superior cavalry outmaneuvered and defeated Hannibal's forces. The once invincible Carthaginian was humbled, and the Second Punic War came to an end. After Zama, Hannibal returned to Carthage, a defeated general but not a defeated man. He threw himself into politics, rising to the position of chief magistrate. He implemented reforms, fought corruption, and even managed to restore some of Carthage's wealth and power. But Rome, still wary of their old enemy, pressured the Carthaginian government to get rid of him. Hannibal went into exile, moving from court to court in the eastern Mediterranean. He offered his military expertise to anyone who would listen, always looking for a way to strike back at Rome. But his dream of revenge remained unfulfilled. In 183 BC, Hannibal, the great adversary of Rome, ended his own life, preferring death to capture. His final act was one of defiance, a refusal to let Rome dictate the terms of his life or his death. Even in his end, Hannibal remained a symbol of resistance, a reminder that Rome, for all its power, could be challenged. Although Hannibal could not defeat Rome, his military strategies have left an enduring legacy. His genius on the battlefield has continued to echo through the ages, shaping the course of military history. Hannibal's tactics are not relics of a bygone era, but rather enduring lessons of strategic brilliance. He was a master of deception, of using the landscape to his advantage, of turning the tables on an enemy even when the odds were stacked against him. These principles did not fade away with the sands of time. Instead, they found their way into the hallowed halls of military academies across the globe, where they continued to be studied and admired. His influence didn't stop at the gates of these academies. It permeated into the very heart of the Roman military system. Hannibal's audacious strategies forced Rome to re-evaluate and reform its military tactics. The Romans learned from Hannibal, and their military doctrine evolved. They adapted, becoming a more formidable force that would eventually dominate the Mediterranean. In a twist of irony, the man who sought to bring down Rome ended up strengthening it. Hannibal's legacy also extends into popular culture. From movies to video games, his portrayal as an indomitable general who dared to challenge a superpower continues to captivate audiences. His life story, filled with daring exploits and dramatic twists, has been retold in countless forms, each time igniting our collective imagination and admiration for this exceptional tactician. Hannibal Barca, the Carthaginian general who dared to challenge Rome, continues to inspire and fascinate us even today. His story is a testament to the power of audacity and strategic brilliance. It is a tale of a man who, against all odds, dared to challenge the mightiest power of his time, and in doing so, etched his name into the annals of history. His legacy lives on, reminding us that even in the face of overwhelming odds, there can be greatness.